So a bit of a mixed bag. Last night I framed in a window frame. Took a bit of working out exactly where I was going to go. I've got some bits of wooden LVT which I've cut in such a way that it goes up snug to the window. So I'm going to stick that in and frame it all off. That's finish off another day. I'll probably do that during the week. But the thing I'm most excited about is I've actually wired up my solar this morning. So I put the gland up yesterday. I was a bit asked about face with this really. I had my solar panel up ages ago. I will get those covered up though. So in fact I can pull these cables through. I'll have to do a bit more jiggery pokery downstairs, but I can pull those cables through that gland. So I had a white gland and I really didn't want it, and I bought a black gland and just kept putting the job off. But now that solar's installed, so this morning I've been wiring up my solar controller. Now I had a real problem with this double pole isolator because when you take the cover off, basically you have, cheers for that, you have 4 ports across the top that go 1, 3, 5, 7, and then down the bottom you have 2, 4, 6, 8. In fact I think it goes 2, 4, 6, 8 that way. But basically I couldn't understand how that was supposed to be wired. Obviously it's capable of being a 4-pole isolator, but I was just using it as a 2-pole isolator. Eventually I found a video on YouTube which explained that you put your positive in there and it feeds the opposite point, which didn't seem to make sense, but that's what the guy said. And then this one goes on the top right and comes out on the bottom left. So I contacted a mate who's an electrician and he said that doesn't really make sense, but then I watched this video and the guy's explanation was pretty good. So I thought, well, I'll take a chance. So I wired it all through a trip. Now this is a temporary leisure battery I bought for a friend. I've actually gone and bought a cheap AGM 105 amp hour. I think it cost me about 100 quid, 95 quid, something like that. So that's coming in the next couple of days because this one just doesn't hold a charge. But for now, I thought I'll get it all connected and see what happens. So I'll turn the isolator on. Obviously, I better explain. So my solar comes into the double pole isolator there, and it comes out underneath, and then is wired. Sorry, it goes back in there, comes out underneath, and then up into my solar controller there. And then the battery connections come out. Positive goes up to a 60 amp breaker, and then back out to the battery. The battery then feeds off to my 12 volt fuse box. So all my wiring's in place. So let's see what happens when I turn it on. It should, from what I've read, it should show a blue light there briefly, and then it should go to an amber one there for absorption. So if I get in close, turn this on, and there you can see the blue light is actually on, and it should go to amber in the middle. Yes, so that means that I've wired everything up correctly. That didn't beat me, I got it done. Happy days. I'm on a 60 amp breaker for a 60 amp charger now. I'm not sure if that's right, but it makes sense to me, because if that starts to do something above 60 amps, it's going to trip that. But for now, I haven't wired up my DC to DC yet. That's another one that's going to be quite simple to do. Another method of charging the batteries. But for now, my solar panel is actually, as you can see, charging that battery. So it's the only power I've got to that battery. So if I go up to my control panel, it should give me the voltage that it's reading. 14.5. Now I'm not quite sure if that's right, to be honest. But considering it's a dead old battery, I'm not too worried. But yeah, starting to come together. I've had a few bits. I actually had a delivery from Amazon this morning of my crimp tool, which is why I actually decided to get on and do it. Didn't realise that Amazon would deliver to me at my business address on a Sunday, but they did. Even though all the emails pointed to it turn up tomorrow, they come this morning, and luckily I was here. But yeah, I'm really proud of myself for that. I've seen so many others do it, but electrics is not my game, and that confused the hell out of me. But I've actually managed to work my solar. Pats himself on the back. I'm actually quite proud of myself for that. That's probably the most complicated thing I've done, and it's working. It's actually charging my batteries. Happy days.